Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. And, I guess the reason I asked the question in that way, Senator, thank you for being here, is that it does seem like a certain class of the rich simply want to do their business their own way and not follow the really simple, basic rules. Is that really what we're looking at here?
Oh, I think that's exactly right. This is a man who just thought he was bulletproof in every meaning of that word. The rules just don't apply to him. They only apply to the little people. He had Donald Trump's ear, and he was willing to use it no matter what, whether it involved conflicts of interest, whether it involved a violation of the law. But, there's another piece to this one, it seems to me, and that's the question about whether or not just what he has done, and it looks like a clear violation of the law, failed to register, but is registration really enough? One of the things that I think is a real problem is if foreign governments want to try to influence the United States, let them send over their delegations. They don't have to hire people here in the United States to lobby our government. I don't think that Americans ought to be lobbying the government on behalf of foreign officials. And by the way, that is one more reason that we should be pushing forward on the For the People Act. It has great provisions to protect voting, great provisions to get rid of gerrymandering, great provisions, though, to beat back the influence of dark money. And part of it is starting to put more restrictions on lobbying. If foreign governments want to talk to our government, then let them send their own foreign delegation. They'll be clearly identified and we'll know who they work for.
And I'm so glad that you put it that way, because I think that is the concern, is that you have the wealthy coming at our government at all times from every angle. You've got domestic businesses, businesses with foreign headquarters. You've got the Amazons of the world. They all want to pay almost no taxes. They all want tremendous influence over whether they're regulated or if they're regulated at all. And people don't seem to want to be open about that. But I feel like that's the core problem. And so, Senator, I know this is something that you care a lot about. Are you concerned, just being in the middle of that Senate maelstrom, that the For the People Act is kind of getting backbenched and sort of traded away as Democrats are so excited that they're going to get this big infrastructure bill that's got all this good stuff that Democrats, and particularly liberal Democrats, have wanted for a long time?
I never like to tell tales out of school, but today at the lunch for the Democrats, we were talking about that infrastructure bill, but there were also hands up in the room to say we have got to go forward on For the People as well, that we cannot let it fall behind, that For the People is about protecting the vote, about getting rid of gerrymandering, about beating back the influence of big money. And that's where it all happens. This is about our investment in democracy. It is about our investment in the future. So, yeah, right now the headlines are all about that infrastructure bill. And look, I'm in there fighting for the parts I care about, too. But what we have to remember is that what we must get done as a Democratic Senate is we must pass For the People. Our democracy depends on it.
And I'm glad that you're putting it that way, because I'm starting to wonder if maybe I'll just ask you, what kind of creative thinking are we seeing in terms of how to do the both and here? Because we did see Amy Klobuchar say something that I thought was pretty brilliant, which is to say that maybe if we're expanding our definition of infrastructure, election infrastructure then comes in. Maybe we find ways to push things into the infrastructure bill, or are there punitive things? I remember when I was growing up, the state of Colorado didn't want to lower their speed limit to 55, and the federal government said, fine, you don't get any federal highway money, right? There's money coming to states that are hurting voters. Are there ways to be creative about using the infrastructure package to get some of the reforms on voting through?
Potentially there are, and we're certainly looking into all of them. Just had a conversation about that early this morning. But understand, For the People has provisions in it that I don't think we can get in through reconciliation. Because remember, we have the parliamentarian who's going to be sitting there saying, wait a minute, is that a money provision or are you trying to create new law?
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to rely on that. I want to keep saying, I'm glad to talk about infrastructure. I'm glad for us to move infrastructure forward. But we have to remember the end goal. The end goal is that we have got to protect our democracy, protect our vote, protect the meaning of that vote on the gerrymandering rules, and beat back the influence of dark money. That has to be a first priority for us. Get them both done, I'm all in. But we've got to make sure that we protect our vote for the people.